Diggity down. All right.
That's a cute visitor.
Yes, we have a very cute visitor today. I think she's cute. She's about 6 months old. Her name's Satori.
Sorry.
She is a pure Cocker Spaniel. And she's just a lot of fun. But I double booked myself, well, triple booked myself for the 9 o'clock hour. So,
Okay. Okay.
you know. So, and really quick note on the airlines, guys. And in studio today with Wired Wednesday, we have NorthRidge Roofing, Grady and Justin going over roofs and things. But before we get started into that, with the airlines, no kidding, less than 3 years ago, okay, weren't they the most predictable transportation like avenue? Most predictable. Everything was on time. It was an anomaly if things were delayed. I mean, Denver's always delayed in the winter, right? Like, I mean, just snow, period. But wasn't it the most reliable thing to count on?
We can rely on it pretty good. Yeah.
I mean, like in the 80% range.
Yeah, okay.
Right? Yes. I mean, like, I remember running to not miss my flight. Now it's like, oh, we need to show up an hour early because it's going to be delayed 4 hours if we can even get off the ground, right? And this was before any of the airline strikes. And my parents got trapped in Portland over this last weekend because of the pilot strikes.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I was like, I didn't know that was a thing. I guess I just need to pay attention more, apparently.
You know, can I sound like a grumpy old man for a while?
Absolutely.
It's not just airlines. It's kind of everything these days.
Right. No, there's no accountability. There's no measure. There's no actual going, you know, and performing at the level that we need people to show up as.
Yeah, we've had a lot of, I guess, scarring because of pandemic and stuff like that. But it just seems like no one cares anymore. And I go, really? I still come in here, try to bring my best every day, and I would fall flat sometimes. I would be, I'm fully aware of that.
But we're all human.
But we're all, yeah. But it's kind of like, you go into, and this is going to sound like a scathing, and it's an overgeneralization, but it seems like you go out to eat, whether you're doing a quick pickup at the drive-through or going out to a sit-down restaurant, it's kind of like, oh, we don't really care if you're here. And I go, oh, okay.
It's ridiculous. Anyways, sorry for the quick tangent, guys. Good morning. It's McKinnon Hansen. Thank you for joining us for Wired Wednesday. I am so grateful that we do have people that we can rely on, however, because Grady and Justin with NorthRidge Roofing and Construction,
I need one of your cards, by the way.
they are an incredible team. And what I love about them is the reliability that they provide and the quality of products they provide this area. It's so nice to be able to call a roofing company and be like, hey guys, I need a roof evaluated. I don't know if it's hail damage. I don't know if it's wind damage. I don't know what happened kind of damage, but
I don't know what the hell happened.
Right, exactly. But I know that when I call these guys, they can go out to my clients' houses and their structures and figure out if they really do need new roofs or if it was an age-related thing or if it was a weather-related thing. So guys, what going into spring, what's going on? What are you seeing out there?
We've had a couple of windstorms, pretty high wind, and had some calls off that. So pitching was blown off. You can get a call. There's also the hail from last year. If you're falling behind, didn't get your roof looked at or fixed, we can come out and look at it. I've actually got a couple calls up in Ashdown Forest from last year. They just didn't think to get their roof checked. And we went out there and they have hail damage up there. So they turned the claim and they can get the roof covered. So that was last year. And then with wind coming, there's all kinds of possibilities of roof damage.
Right.
Well, is there last year and they can still get that covered by insurance?
Now insurance they have a threshold. We usually like to tell them push them right away because like McKinnon said last year, once you get pushing it past a certain date, they're like, well, why didn't you file? But if they didn't know and they legitimately did not know, most insurance companies, it's usually about a year, 6 months to a year.
Okay, so there is a window of some kind.
Yeah.
Okay. There is, yeah.
However, if like there's other damages being ensued because of the damage, like the roof's now leaking and they chose not to do anything about it until it got bad enough, kind of a quote unquote bad enough to report to the insurance companies have the right to refuse that kind of a claim.
Correct.
Now-
That's the scariest part.
Well, and I'm not a claims adjuster, right? I'm a lowly insurance agent. Although I did get a couple of company awards lately that I want to talk about later, just proving that I know how to do my job. But yes, you go into that reporting period and those different things. So riddle me this. I saw 2 new roofs go up in my neighborhood. One is actually like a tile, but it looks like metal. Is there metal tile technology out there now?
Kind of, yeah.
Okay.
We've got a couple of different types of products that are similar to that. Good example would be Decra, which Justin's actually just did a job down in St. George that we're actually waiting to start, and it's called a stone coated steel. It's a metal panels that look like tile, and they're coated in granules essentially, and it looks like a tile roof, but it's actually made of steel. Those roofs pretty much last forever. That could be what you saw.
Wow.
I would assume so, but there's some pretty cool technology that's coming out.
And just to like kind of take people back, right? I mean, this area has been established since what, 1850, 1840, right?
Long time.
Right. Almost 200 years,
Yeah.
right? We went from literally shake and shingle, like slaps, like pieces of board over our roofs,
Yep.
to roofs that last nearly forever.
Yep.
The technology is ever evolving in all industries. So Justin, what kind of situations are we looking up in Ashdown Forest? Are they shingle? Were they metal or tile?
Everything up there is shingle, but we have done a couple of roofs with specialty shingles that are upgraded. We also did what's called a Da Vinci slate. It looks like slate, but it's plastic, it's a hard plastic. It's really a neat roof. So it looks like that old world slate, but it's made of plastic, and that's the lifetime roof too. That will last forever.
Kind of like the lifetime products?
Yeah.
Sorry, I couldn't. The plastic is just, who knew that you could use, I mean, again, the technology is ever developing in the different areas. So with all of the different roof claims and hail claims that we had last summer, have you guys seen a lot of those projects come to completion, or or is there still a lot of contractors that gave bids that then disappeared?
Yeah, there was a lot of contractors that came from Salt Lake. I think they're coming back, but winter came and everything slowed down. So I'm sure some of them will come back. We're from here, we're local, we stay here, we live here. And so we pushed off a lot of our roofs too because of winter, but we're starting to ramp up and do some more roofs. And so we've got plenty of room on our schedule to get all these roofs done and completed. So if you kind of left in the dark and contractor contacted you and you're not waiting to get your roof done and you're not getting any contact from them or whatever the reason is, we can get you taken care of pretty good.
Pretty fast, actually, too.
I was gonna say,
That's
what's the
thing.
timeline? Like, so if I called you right after this radio show,
If you've already had your insurance claim filed, if you've been in the work since last year, we can get things done extremely
Probably
within a
about
couple of weeks.
week or two.
Yeah, you can have your roof built, put on.
Mainly the thing is,
finalized insurance.
the main thing is getting material order because everything's up with inflation and backed up. But we've developed a relationship with our supply house in St. George. So he pre-stocks all the materials. So we can do it pretty quick.
which is such an incredible thing. And it goes back to why in relationships in any type of business are the key to doing business,
Oh, absolutely.
right? People do business with who they know, like, and trust. You know, I have all of my clientele because they know, like, and trust me. You guys have your clientele. We have that, synergistic relationship where insurance needs a reliable roofing company, and not to gouge the insurance company because everybody's like, well, I'll get my money out of the insurance now. But it's having that really solid relationship of knowing that you do need a new roof or you need it replaced because of wind damage, and going through those different avenues. There's a house in Tokerville that's right on the highway. Then I noticed that only a third of the house a third of the roof blew off because it was an all tin roof.
Green room?
Yep.
I actually put my card on that door.
That's awesome. So in that kind of a case, and same with shingles, like when it's kind of just pieced damage, I suppose. What do you guys do? Do you evaluate the entire roof for age, or kind of walk us through that process?
Well, a roof can be partially damaged. It depends on what the damage was from. So if it was caused by a weather event like wind or hail, and we want to, if there's enough damage over the course, we probably want to file an insurance claim. And then we'll actually meet with the adjuster on site. And of course, every insurance company has their own individual rules on what will be and what won't be covered. And there's For metal roofs and shingle roofs, like if it's wind damage, there has to be a certain amount of shingles that have been pulled up by wind. Certain age on the roof, all sorts of factors have to go into play for the adjuster to actually decide what's going to be covered and what's not going to be covered. So we show up to those job sites to actually work with the adjuster, help them figure out, is this whole roof in need of a replacement or just a repair, right? But in most cases where a roof is aged, like the one you're talking about, even though it's damaged, let's say on one side, a lot of times you can't actually mend certain things together, especially with shingles. You can't mend an old roof with a new roof because you can't lift up old shingles because they're actually too brittle and they'll break. So repairability factor is a big thing. So it's really kind of hard to determine on the front end once you actually get down and look at the roof and see what you're dealing with, if it's going to be repair versus full replacement. And we work with the insurance adjuster on site to make sure that happens properly.
And those discussions and building those relationships, because it's incredible the hands off that a lot of different, at least insurance agents take, oh, well, I'm just going to send the adjuster out. All of my clients know when they have claims, they call me. I am through them with the end of the claim to the best of my abilities to whatever's I'm assisting with or in control of, basically. And basically I'm just the middleman, right? And Satori's falling asleep on the desk. It's perfect. But you go through the different relationship building factors, and I look out at Enoch and some of those roof systems that, did need to be replaced and some of them that didn't, but what that's really doing to the back end, to the insurance company or the insurance rates. Now, I'm not saying that rates increase when you make a claim, right? It goes into the logistics of frequency and volume and those types of things. But when you move different insurance companies, they can say, oh, well, you made this, let's say $40,000 roof claim, and really did the whole thing need to be replaced? And that's always a question in the back of the other insurance company's minds. And I'm not saying you should stay with your current company just because they paid a claim, because if you're not getting taken care of properly on other aspects, then clearly you need a better product, right?
Part of the reason why we use the products we do, our standard shingle has 130 mile-an-hour warranty, so they're not coming off the roof. We get high winds here, but not that high. So we're gonna put that product on to kind of ensure that the customer, hey, you're never gonna have to file a claim again down the road. We're not gonna put on a product where 2 years down the road your shingles start blowing off or deteriorating or something like that. We want to build a longevity so they don't have to have that claim frequency. And it's kind of counterintuitive to our business because we're doing roofs all the time, but it's not really, because we get referrals by word of mouth, like, oh, these guys did this, they put this product on. Call them.
People
Right.
always say that we're putting ourselves out of business, but
Right. But again, it goes back to the adage of if you build relationships with people and they know, like, and trust you. I know that sounds like a really old, I've said it too many times probably, but if you do people good, right, they're going to do good to you and it'll all come around.
absolutely.
But we always look at, like, my philosophy is always, I'm going to give them the product that I'm going to put on their house. I wouldn't go down and put the cheapest product on my own house if I'm building it. So why would I do it for the customer?
Exactly. So riddle me this, and I think we've talked about it in the other shows, but when people have solar panels on their house, okay, I've invested however much umpteen thousands of dollars, but the shingles underneath it are peeling up. What are my options?
Well, it's a little difficult there. We've actually had that situation quite a bit with the insurance claims that people have been filing for hail. And in that case, it's pretty easy, actually. The insurance company pays for everything. Panels come off, they stay off for the duration of the build. We get everything completely replaced underneath, and then the panels go back up. So in that case, it's pretty easy. And we've actually seen on some roofs that even if they don't have hail damage, just with age, we do see underneath those shingles they get ice damage, right? So you will see that curling underneath those. If it gets to the point where it's bad enough, you will need to replace that area there. And if you do end up having to get to that point where your shingles are too bad underneath the solar panels, what we would do in that case is put extra ice and water shield. It's a thick membrane barrier that stops ice from getting underneath your shingles and leaking into the house. And that's a really bad area that occurs. So in that situation, when we do repair, we would just basically double layer underneath that to protect that.
Well, and it's incredible. People think that, Cedar is a fairly well-tempered area, which we are, we're really blessed. But there are still that, I would say 45 to 60 days, especially on a north slope. And if you have trees and everything else, you're not getting the melting that, let's say, an east or a west slope would get, or even, for sure, a south slope. But
And a lot of the roofs we do, we've noticed on those north slopes, they have existing leaking, so we'll come in and we'll reflash everything. A lot of them are getting correctly done. So we'll come in, we're not just coming in and replacing, we'll come in and reflash everything. We'll make sure that it was done properly so there's no leaking. There's a thing called ice cables or de-icing cables that you'll see on north slopes and roofs. They've got them. We'll put them back on. We've got Grady does that for us. We just come to the reinstall right back. That snow's melting.
Those can be a big lifesaver sometimes as well. We have a couple customers that we replaced roof for, and they don't have cables. And we've seen over this winter that some of those places on the north slope, especially where usually a valley area where the ice is built up, and actually you can see it start to lift shingles up in areas like that. And you can just spend, it's really cheap, it's inexpensive. You can get, spend $30, $40 and solve that problem with ice cables. Keep that from happening from your house.
And you can put ice cables up on metal roofs too, right?
It's kind of tough, but you can do it. So.
Anything's possible with duct tape and baling wire.
That's right.
Just saying.
Can we move off on this for just a second and probably talk about something that's less lucrative for you, but I think it came up last time. Let's talk about gutters. Do you guys do gutter replacement, things like that also too?
Yes, Grady, he's actually been friends. He's with that guy, Andy Harmon.
His entire life. He's
35 years,
yeah.
and so he's an expert. So we utilize him. He's our exclusive gutter guy. Yeah, he'll come out. Like he came out to Ashdown Forest last week and did 5 or 6 jobs. But these gutter jobs were done improperly. The corner miters leaked. Some of the gutters didn't have enough hangers in them. So he'll go through and redo everything and do it the correct way.
Yeah, he pointed out all sorts of major issues that we noticed, but we didn't really know what the deal was. And he's really educated us a lot. We'd see weird paint marks on the outside of people's gutters. They would start to sag for no reason. And we just thought that they got overloaded. But after he did an inspection, we'd see that the previous installer didn't put enough hangers in the gutters, so they'd get overloaded with snow or water. And there was another thing that I didn't really realize is for every 14 inches of gutter, you have a gallon of water. So they get extremely heavy. And a lot of people have to have double downspouts to drain off enough water, else the gutters will start to rip off the house. And he's came through and fixed all the houses that we've made repaired. And he's added downspouts where they need to be added. He's let the customer know why that's such a big issue. And it's just been scary to see because we weren't sure on a lot of these houses why they had so much damage. We couldn't figure it out. And he came through and explained to us, and it's been a big education for us.
Well, and with the spring thunderstorms theoretically coming and,
yeah.
All of the different things that this area does get, we can get an inch of water sometimes in one storm. Now that is very rare, and that's, 400-year-old storm, but it's happened, and it's happening more and more frequently. So gutters are very important, especially just to maintain the roof line and maintain the structural integrity.
Yeah, he'll come out and do a full estimate of the gutter system if you need new gutters. I'll tell you, like Grady said, what downspouts you need. Whether you need 5-inch gutters, 6-inch gutters, but he's been an expert. He's been doing it down in Southern all around here for about 35 years.
And he does work with you guys there.
Correct.
So as we are short on time, we're in the last 60 seconds of the show. How do we get a hold of you guys?
There's a lot of ways. You can message us on Facebook. We have a Facebook page where we post all of our projects that we're doing. Or you can give us a call, 435-817-3651.
Thank you so much, Justin and Grady, for joining us today on Wired Wednesday. It's always very enlightening, and I love creating synergy with companies so that I know that my clients are taken care of through the insurance products that I offer. I'm McKinnon Hansen, your local. I'm McKinnon Hansen, your local Farm Bureau financial agent serving Southern Utah at 435-592-2021, specializing in commercial and home and auto products. I look forward to meeting you. Thank you guys again. And we'll see you in about 3 months.
Thank you.
Thanks.